All right, I can see your desktop.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to go over assets. I have a few different scenarios or a few different ways to utilize the asset piece in the help desk. The setup would all remain the same, and I think that that would probably be something you guys are most interested in. So I am going to cover how to actually set it up and then how to execute it. So logging in as the system admin, all of your assets will take place under the Assets tab. These other tabs here at the top, search, filters, reports, none of that will search, filter, or report on assets. You have to be on this tab, and then you'll notice down the left-hand side is where you will do everything that revolves around assets. So if you can see, as soon as I click onto that, it's going to list all of the assets that I have currently added into the help desk. Now, if you have separate groups, which is something that I'm going to cover, if you notice, these ones are in the technology group and these ones are in technology distribution. So if you have assets that belong to different groups or you're doing different things with them, they still all will be listed right here in this list. So I'm going to take you, if you clicked on your asset tab, it would be blank. So we're going to start like as if that's what it looked like. The first thing that you need to do is right here under settings, you need to go through these 4 options here and create those settings before you can add any assets. So the first one here is asset type. And this is just where you're going to say what the asset is. So the ones I have listed here are laptop, desktop, printer, scanner. This can be whatever you want it to be, and you can have as many as possible. They're very quick and easy to add. All you do is click on the new asset type and type in the name, and then you would save those changes, and it will appear here in this list. Along with editing a current asset, if you would like to change that, you can click on the pencil here and just edit the name of it there as well. So the next tab here is statuses. This is where you're going to add any type of status that that asset can be in. A lot of times we have customers that will just use active and not active. In this particular example, we do have active, missing, stolen, disposed, new in box, or damaged. Again, you can type in whatever you want here, and you can add new statuses at any point. So even if you have 300 assets in your system and you want to add a different status, you can come here and do that. And again, it's the same as adding an asset type. You just click on new, type in the name, and save those changes, and it will appear here in this list. Those are 2 of the required fields when adding an asset, is the asset type and the status. So you will need to have these set up prior to uploading or adding a status to the system. Now, the field groups and the custom fields, I'm going to show you those, but a little later on in the demonstration, you'll see where they come into play. A field group, when you're adding an asset or you're adding a custom field, so it's something that maybe isn't in the asset piece, but you want to be able to add that in. Like, let's go with a comment. That's going to be one that we'll show. You're going to just add here a tab. And this might be a little confusing to you, so I'm going to show you where that will appear. Across the top here, these are just default tabs. So what you're essentially doing is adding an extra tab here to the right. And that's what a field group is called. So here I've added one that says additional fields. And then I've just added which asset types can belong there. Because sometimes you might just have, like, let's say you just want to attach a certain comment on only printers or only servers, something like that. So I click here to add the new field group, and this is where I would go ahead and name that. And then below is where I'm going to add what asset types this field group will show up on. So I'm just going to change that, and we'll do phones. And we'll just add any of the phone, well, the iPhone and the BlackBerry. So anytime when I'm adding an asset that is an iPhone or a BlackBerry, then this extra field group is going to come up. So that's what this means here. So the additional fields tab would be for all of these asset types, and the phones tab will be for these 2 asset types. So then you would come to the custom fields, and this is that custom field that you want to add under that tab. So under additional fields, I have product number, comments, and network name, because these were 3 things that I actually helped a customer with this, and they were 3 things that were not in the asset tracker, but he still wanted to track these, and so we added them under that tab. Now under phones, we could add mobile number so that you are asking, oops, if I could spell. So we're just going to put mobile number there, and then when we add that phone into the system, we're going to add what the phone number is too. So that's as far as you need to go for the setup. So at this point, you would be ready to either add an asset manually, or you would be ready to import. So I'm going to show you the import because a lot of you might already have your assets in an Excel spreadsheet or maybe another system that you want to export to an Excel spreadsheet and then import into the help desk. So I have a file created, and I'll just pull that over so that you can see it. In this file, I have up here at the top, these are the headings. I have asset number, name, asset type, and asset status. Just remember, when creating an Excel spreadsheet, these are the 4 required fields when adding an asset. There has to be a number, there has to be a name, and then there would be the type and the status. So these types and these statuses will need to match what you previously set up. Now these just went a little further. We have group, category, the serial number. If you'll notice on those additional fields, product number was one of those. The owner here, that's just going to take the owner right in the help desk. So that's the file that I've created or that I've exported from another system. And so in order to import that, I just click here on the import button, and then I'm going to browse to that file. It's going to ask me which file type it is, and then it's asking me also, is the first line of row of labels. I always enter those labels in, and you can also at the same time create a new location or a new group, but you probably already have those created, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on Load File. Okay, hold on just a second. I'm going to start that over. I think I need to select here that it was a CSV file. Maybe it's the file I just created. Let's try the other one that worked earlier. I tried to just copy it. There we go. So I must have saved that file wrong. So this is what it should look like. And you're going to match up the fields. And so the fields here on the left-hand side are the ones that it has found in the system. And so if on your row of labels, if they don't match exactly, I'm sorry, these are the ones that found in the spreadsheets, and then these are the ones in the system. So we're just going to match these up. So asset number is going to match asset number. But on your spreadsheet, if you just named it number in that heading, then it would just display number here. So I'm going to match up the ones that I want it to import. And I'm actually just going to do these first 4 that I know are required. And then I can leave the rest blank and then go ahead and click on Import. And then it imports that for me. And they are listed here. So here's the ones I just barely imported. I haven't attached them to a group. I could have selected the group option and it imported it here, but you might not care. It might just be for straight across. The reason I did a group here was to show you the difference in how you could use the assets. So that's basically how you would do an import, and then you can always come in here and edit it. So I'm going to click on one of these here, and if you'll notice, here's that field or that tab that we added of additional fields. And so I could come in here and type in a comment, enter a network name, whatever I wanted to enter with that. But let me just go over what will be demonstrated, or what information you can enter with each asset. So here we have the number, the name, the type, and the status. You can enter a description, a location if you would like. The difference between how this says asset location and this one says owner, and in parentheses it has EHD. This part is pulling right from the help desk. So this is asking for somebody that is already in the help desk, and then who it belongs to. So we're just going to go ahead and say that it's Principal Bell. He has this printer or this laptop here. We could add a vendor, and I'll show you how to add vendors in or import those as well. And then here again, we can attach it to a location, and this is just basically saying, who has this laptop. We can add categories and category options if you would like to. You can also, on this accounting info, you can enter the accounting information that was used to purchase it. You could have a purchase order number, an account number. This is also where you would put, if it is a lease, when that expires, or what the warranty dates are. If it was disposed of and you're still tracking it, you can put the disposal dates. All of this information would go under the accounting info. Associated tickets, I will show you how to attach an asset to a ticket, but once your technicians have done that, you can come in and look at an asset to see what tickets have been attached to it and maybe what the issues are there. And this will also come out in a report form as well. Now, if you have attached any software licenses or you want to, after we load in all of the licenses, you can come to that particular asset. Like, let's say Microsoft Office Suite has been installed on this laptop. I'm just going to go ahead and add that, and it just says that, yes, this has Microsoft Office Suite running on it. And then you have your remote management tab where you can type in the host name and the port to actually remote into that asset. And then, like I said, we have that additional fields here. So if this were a phone, then we would be asking for the mobile number at this point. So that's the information that you have available to enter in there. And I know that that's a lot. You could, just enter a couple and then play with it a little bit to see what information works for you and what doesn't. If you're going to, now that I just showed you how to do an import, and now I'm going to show you how to just add an individual asset. A lot of customers will do the initial import because they have everything in an Excel document, or they exported it from another system. And then when they receive or they purchase assets after that, they might just add them one at a time. So when adding an asset, you're going to come to that same screen that we just saw. And the only 4 things that you need to enter is the number, the name, the type, and the status. And then you can save it, and it will be into your system. You don't have to enter in all of the other information. So if you just want to go at the bare minimal, then that's all that you need to do, are those 4 fields right there. So I'm going to go into vendors and support or software licenses, because those are 2 things that you might want to load before you go in and look at each individual asset, if that's something that you keep track of. So as far as vendors go, you can import vendors the same way that we imported assets, or you can click to add a new vendor. When adding a new vendor, all it's asking you for, or all that's required, is a name. But for your records, if you would like to add all of this, the address and the phone number, fax, email, any notes, it's just a good way to keep that information right on hand in the help desk. As far as software licenses go, you just simply click to add a new software license. You'll add the name, version, again, as much information as you would like. You can attach a vendor. The one thing, this being an asset tracker and not an asset management system, it's not going to count down for you. If you install, like let's say you have 200 licenses for Microsoft Office Suite and you install 5 of them, it's not going to show that you have 195 left. But you still can enter it and attach it to assets so that you know what's installed where in your company. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to attach it to a ticket, but first, just in the assets itself, you have, notice there's a search asset and there's a filters option, just like you do when you're searching and filtering through tickets up here at the top. So if you click on search assets, you would just simply do the same thing as you would search for a ticket in the system. You're going to choose what you want to filter on or what you want to search, and then just go ahead and run that filter. And it's the same way as if it's something that you're going to run repeatedly, you can just go ahead and save that filter, and then it will fall under the filters tab. So that search and filters works exactly the same as it does for tickets, but it's just actually searching assets instead of tickets itself. So I'm going to sign out as the admin, and I'm going to log in as a manager. I went ahead and attached some tickets yesterday, so I'll show you those ones first. So here we have ticket number 41. You'll notice right here, this is where you can tell that an asset has been attached. So when a technician comes in, or you might even have users, this is something that you can open up to users. You probably, I don't know many that do, because they might not be savvy enough to go ahead and attach the correct asset. So this might be something that only technicians and managers do. So this is where it's going to show that it actually has been added. And then I'm going to just go ahead and add another one. Some of these tickets might not make sense. This is what I use for my testing database. So, but what you would do is just go ahead and click on this magnifying glass, and it's going to pull over the information that was entered. You always want to just clear that information so that you can search the entire asset database, and then you'll just click search, and those assets will appear here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and choose one, and to do that, you just click on the green plus sign, and then you'll notice it's been attached here. And what I'll do is just go ahead and save those changes. Of course, like always, it comes up with asking me to make a comment, and I don't have to, oops, I can cancel that. And so now that has been added to this particular ticket. So it's as simple as that. Technicians can come in, see what the issue is, and they can attach the assets so that later on down the road, if there is a certain laptop that maybe has a problem with the video card, you know, maybe that will flag for you to not purchase that laptop in the future. So that's how easy it is to attach it to a ticket. And I'm going to just go back in as the admin. To show you how the admin or the manager can actually see that those things have been attached. Under reports, you can run, these are just banked reports. So if I click on assets by owner, I haven't attached any owners to it yet, but you could see, you know, who has what, basically. So the owner would appear here, and then it's going to tell you what assets in the system have been attached to them. We can also do it by group if you've attached a group. And again, these reports are actually pre-created, so it's just something that you're going to click on and view that information. Okay, so what I want to show you now is the reason why I created two different groups or two different options here. Under the technology group, these are just basically all of the assets that are in the system. or that we are keeping track of. So everything at our company is loaded in here and it's under that group. Now, the one I have selected here for technology distribution, this is where I've added all of my mobile options. I've added phones, I've added iPads, things that could basically get up and walk away, per se. So what I'm keeping track of here is when I give these out and who I give them out to. And so I've added these assets in here. You would, of course, add them, each individual one that you're giving out, and then you can attach the owner to it right here. So if this particular one was going to Wes Welker, we would attach him there and then save that. And then we know that this BlackBerry Bold Touch 9900 belongs to Wes Welker, and that's who we have given it to. You can track that here, and you can also just enter all of your assets, all of your mobile items that are going to be going out to people. And then I came over here and created a template so that I could, when somebody needs a phone, like let's say we got a new hire and they need a phone, I can run my template or go ahead and initiate it. The assignment is automatically there, and I'm asking the person to enter the model number and the mobile number here, and then they would just, so let's say this one is going to go to Tom Brady, and he is at the New England location, and I'm just going to choose the assignment here. Enter that information, and then I'm going to launch that ticket. You could also, the status that I added here to the system was taken from warehouse, so that when this ticket is initially entered and sent to the technician, it says taken from warehouse. And then when they actually deliver it, they can change that to distributed so that you have a way of tracking who has received what and when. So those are the two different ways that you could essentially use the assets. They don't all have to be to attach to tickets. You can use it as a way to keep track of those mobile devices and who owns them and where they're currently at. So that's about it on the assets. I'm sure that you have several questions. So Keaton, is there any questions that have been asked so far that I can answer?
Yeah, we have one from Brian. Can the asset number be auto-generated?
No. That's something that you would have to type in, or when it comes from your Excel spreadsheet, it would just incorporate that way. It can be letters as well as numbers, but it can't be auto-generated.
Okay, some questions are starting to come in. Should we give everybody just a minute or two to enter them in, and then we can answer them? Okay, so at this time, I see you guys starting to ask some questions. We're going to give you just a minute or two to get those in there, and then we will start answering them. Thank you so much, Catherine, by the way, for that presentation. That was fantastic. And so we'll just take a quick 60-second pause here.
Okay, I can see a few questions here, so I'm going to go ahead and answer them. The first one here is from Liz. She asks, did you say the accounting info can be imported with the assets? And the answer to that is yes. It will just have to be on your spreadsheet. And so whatever the, and let me show you. On the accounting info, whatever is listed here, a PO number, account number, I would just call that or have that be the same heading on the spreadsheet, and then that could be imported that way. And it looks like John has asked about a network discovery tool for the asset manager, and the answer to that is yes. We're actually in the final stages of the network discovery utility. We had a few bugs that we've been working out in the last month, and so we're really close, probably in the next week or two, to doing some beta testing on it. So eventually, when that does come out, we're hoping, by the end of this year, you will be able to run that on your system and have it import the data for you into the asset piece for the help desk. So we will keep you posted on that as we have information on it. If anybody wants to be a beta tester, you can contact me as well, and we can go through that. So we can keep you posted on that. It looks like Kelly asked if you could customize reports. Right now you can't. The only reports that are available are the ones listed here and the information that comes along with them. So unfortunately at this time we cannot do that. Okay, the next question I see is, on the previous system when assets were added, will it be imported into this version? If it was in the previous version, 9.3.4, then yes, it will come over. It might only come over with the 4 required fields. I haven't had anybody that went from a 9 version to 10 with the assets in there to see exactly what comes over. But there are some additional fields in version 10, and so you will have more options there. Okay, so Jay has asked, can the asset or serial number be entered via barcode scanner? And not at this time. They cannot be. So Kelly asks, can you customize fields that generate the asset, delete unnecessary fields? They're not customizable. Under the assets, when you enter them, all of these things here are static. And like I said, the only things that you have to have are these top 4. You don't have to have anything else listed with it. So if you just want to track the name and the number, and then the system requires a type and status, you can do that. Okay, Mike has a question here. When you edit the asset fields after the ticket has been generated, will the fields as well as the asset association be updated? And yes, that is correct. If you update the asset here and it's been attached to a ticket, if you go into the ticket and view that, then yes, it will be updated in both places. Now, John is asking a question of when using the ZCM Zen 11 tie-in, does it add the purchase warranty info, et cetera, or is it only what is available in the ZCM database? If the fields match, then it will load that information in. But if they don't, then you'll have to view that information in the ZCM database. Under the software license, she's asking if, it looks like Alta is asking if she can add a field for the license number. You can't add a custom field to the software licenses, but you could enter that here on the product version. That's what I usually do, is enter the license number right there. And under the product name, I'll put the name of it and the version in addition to that. Or you could also enter it under the notes field here. Okay, Kelly, your question about the incident that you've had, you've updated an asset and when you save it, it says it already exists. I'm going to have one of my support guys contact you so that you can work through that. It might just be something in the system. It doesn't normally do that unless it's duplicated somewhere. So I will have one of our support guys get with you and go over that. Okay, it looks like I'm being asked how to export, and there isn't a way to export the data. You can just import the data from from Excel. So if you exported it from another system that it's currently in into an Excel format, then you can import it into the help desk. Right now, there is not a way to export the information out of the help desk. Okay, it looks like Mandy is asking, once you add all the assets in, where is VNC located? Where does it show up at to VNC to that device? So on the ticket itself, you would just see an icon right underneath where the asset is, and that's where the technician would actually click to remote in that way. Okay, it looks like we've also been asked, is it possible to customize the edit asset field? And currently know that the only customization that you can do for assets is to add an additional custom field or an additional question that is not listed on any one of these tabs here. But all of the options underneath these tabs are not, you can't go in and edit those. Okay, it looks like Deb asked a question of she will go in and do a search, and then when you come back to the list, it goes to the top. So I think what it's doing is it's refreshing it and then going back to the very top view, and that is something that seems to be overlooked in version 10, and we would need to have the developer take a look at that so that it can stay on the search item. So if you were searching on things within a range or just iPads in general, yes, having it stay right there on your search is something that they need to incorporate. So Deb, I can take that to development and see what can be done to get that back in the system. Okay, so Liz has a question of, when creating a ticket, will the asset automatically fill in, or do you have to search manually? You have to search manually. You have to click on the magnifying glass and do a search and manually attach that asset to that ticket. Okay, so in looking at the questions, I think that I've covered them all.
All right, and
I haven't,
I think I've gotten all the ones in the Q&A box.
Okay.
Oh, no, we have one more question. Can you attach more than one asset to a ticket?
No, currently you can only attach one.
Okay, and that was from Brandon. Okay, so you can only attach one asset to a ticket at a time. All right, there are no other questions.
Just
all right,
so that you all
thank you so
are.
much. Oh, sorry.
Okay, and no, I was just going to say, if any of you want to, you know, maybe do a one-on-one training where I'm looking at your screen and you want to add some assets, don't hesitate to give me a call, and we can do just a WebEx just with you and get those items in there for you.
Thanks, Catherine. And also with that, those of you who we've need to get in contact with, if you could make sure you check your chat box. I've sent messages to some of you just asking some questions about what number and when you'd like us to give you a call. If you could make sure to check your chat box for that correspondence, that would be great. So thank you once again, Catherine, for answering all those questions. Thank you so much. And we've gotten to all of them, and so we are going to wrap up. We're going to remind everybody, before we do that, to please connect with us. We love interacting with all of you. Like us on Facebook, join us on Google+, and follow us on LinkedIn for the latest updates. We're really good at posting all the latest releases and keeping you up to date on the webinars, and there's just a lot of good stuff that goes on. And so please connect with us. We love to hear from you guys. And at this time, that is all that we had this morning. Thank you so much for attending. And please, like Catherine said, we're always here to help. Give us a call anytime if you ever need anything. And thanks for being awesome customers. We will continue to correspond with you if you're still talking with us through the chat box. But the webinar has concluded. And so thank you once again, and have a great morning. Bye-bye.